Hey guys, this is Stephen Veterans Training Group. With all this discussion about lethal tactics and techniques, we want to spend a moment and talk about the importance of having a plan in place when you're forced to use your weapons or things don't go exactly as you plan it to. The worst case scenario is you use your weapon in a good shoot or a good defensive situation and you face a bunch of legal consequences and or a bunch of civil consequences due to it. You could do everything right and still potentially face legal and or civil consequences. That's why I asked Joe here today from USCCA to come and basically have a quick discussion with us about why it's important to have not only defensive training and proper techniques and procedures on how to properly plan and prevent yourself becoming a victim, but also have a plan in place for the aftermath of what happens. So Joe, tell us a little bit about what USCCA provides and what it can do to help us prepare for that situation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here, Stephen. And what I can attest to these three kind of questions we're breaking down, right, is why is it important? What does it bring to the table? And how do we prepare ourselves and our families for these kind of situations? What I love about USCCA is it is not just a self-defense insurance plan, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not insurance that saves your life. It's the planning we do beforehand. So we want to have a three-step system for our members to be able to continue what you're learning in class today, to be able to take that home to your friends, your family, and just create a safer community for that. So we believe it comes down to mental preparation, being physically prepared, and of course being legally prepared. So let's talk about the mental for a little bit, right? When we talk about self-defense, right, a lot of us get wrapped up in that idea of the gun, the gear, the right ammo, but we don't think about how do I perceive a threat? What is actually allowed legally depending on the county or the state I'm in, and if I take these next steps in my course of action, what does that aftermath look like? And so we want to make sure you're prepared for all three. So by mentally preparing, our students have the ability to join the USCCA. They get instant access to the Protector Academy, where we expand upon all the great things we've covered here in CCW class. We go through our video series, we talk about our course lessons, you can get certified in multiple disciplines, and then you just continue that conversation. We also want to make sure you physically train. Now, I understand for all of us who are qualifying, right, it's a basic qualification, but we can agree that that's marksmanship.
Yes.
It's not necessarily defensive shooting. And so we want you to go through our Protector level 1, 2, and 3, gain those skills of what it looks like to actually be in a high-risk situation where you have to think on your feet and make that kind of second nature. And then, of course, what is our plan? That third step, which is a legal plan, right? We understand that we as concealed carry permit holders, we are so responsible for everything we get ourselves into, and I want to make sure that we don't neglect that, when it comes to the aftermath of self-defense. So we plan for both civil and potential criminal charges when it comes to self-defense, because just because I think I was in fear for my life in that moment doesn't necessarily mean that someone else may feel that way. And so I have to make sure that everything I've done is not only compliant in the state that I'm in, but also that, God forbid I ever have to get an attorney, they can articulate on my behalf and say, hey, this is why my client did so, and convince 12 other people that they would have done the same thing. So USCCA offers that kind of legal support, things like bail, as well as civil liability coverage, because fortunately, right, just because I did the right thing, I may be held liable for that. So I just want to make sure for myself, my family, I have a plan to navigate those things.
So yeah, full disclosure, guys, I am a member. My whole family is members, and as well as everybody in my team, we all have memberships. The reason I personally like USCCA so much, it's not just the insurance aspect, it's the training aspect. If you go on their website, it will give you every single state you could be traveling. Like I just went up to Alaska, I'm about to head out to Texas tomorrow. Knowing what's the laws of each state, it takes the guesswork out. I love how USCCA sets it up where, hey, if I'm traveling to, let's say, Wisconsin, or if I'm going to New York to go visit some family, what am I legally allowed and not allowed to do in that state? You guys make it so easy and so quick to access as a reference guide, making sure that I am legally within the right, doing the right thing. It makes it very, very easy for me to find that information. And number two, the training aspect. I can't harp on how important it is. The videos that you guys provide and the knowledge that you guys provide on the website is top-notch. In addition, you guys have some great instructors as well as great training curriculum that you guys provide. Most of the slides that you guys see on that have gone through this concealed carry class comes from USCCA's curriculum. They aggregated the information. They helped us collect that and help produce the slides that you guys see. I like USCCA's slides. That's why I decided to use them. I can create my own, but USCCA has done it for me in a way where in a cleaner and nicer fashion that I don't think I could create on my own, and it might take me even more time. And it's constantly updating the information. That's what I love. It's like you guys have a whole staff of like people that are keeping track of the laws of each state. If there's a
Correct.
change on that state level, it's immediately posted. Especially in California, where
Yes.
the laws change like year to
Every
year,
half hour.
every half hour. Now there's a new SB that's coming out that the FSC card may potentially change. I mean, these are all things that USCCA is on top of, and they send out newsletters to people to keep them informed on these changes. So I want to touch back up a little bit on the insurance aspect. We've touched on some of the non-insurance aspect of it, but let's talk about some of the things that it covers for clients, because the biggest thing for me, what drew me to it wasn't just the legal defense, it was the civil defense.
Absolutely.
Understanding that you might be completely in the right from a legal perspective, and you'd be good with the police and the district attorney and the prosecutor.
Right.
But civilly, that family or that whoever got hurt, that injured party can sue you civilly still.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And we being here in the great state of California, right, there's 23 states in the union where if I'm found guilty of a crime of violence, I can't come after you or your family. Unfortunately, California, not one of them. So really important to where if I own a firearm, even if I don't own a firearm, maybe I enjoy something like kickboxing or Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu where it's traditionally non-lethal or less lethal. However, am I still responsible for those actions? Absolutely. And I may be held responsible in a court of law. So having insurance that doesn't just cover lethality, but also covers all means of self-defense, because our mission at USCCA is strictly to save lives.
So you're telling, like, if I have a baseball bat. And,
Absolutely.
You know, or,
as long as you can federally legally own it. So unfortunately, no machine guns, flamethrowers, or grenade launchers. But things like your dog, if your dog is trained and your dog defends you in self-defense, the front bumper of your car because a riot or a protest has not become so peaceful anymore, or if you carry a lethal or non-lethal firearm, whether it's a burner launcher, a taser, or a firearm, you can use them. As long as you can articulate that you are in fear for your life or great bodily injury, and you can go ahead and get a hearing in that court setting, you're good to go. You get to use your USCCA benefits, which is amazing, which makes it a lot different than traditional insurance that somebody can buy into, especially on the civil side. When we talk about, hey, I as a concealed carry permit holder want to be responsible. I want to follow the local ordinances. I don't want to risk losing my permit. So we got the responsibility covered. But when it comes to the idea of being held responsible financially, that's where I'm thinking of my family, my home, my retirement, my kids' college fund. I don't want to lose all of that because I did the right thing that day, but somebody else might not agree with it. So that's why I think having the civil coverage is so important, along all the other great benefits like the incidentals, replacing your firearm if it's seized, and things like red flag law coverage.
Don't they also cover, if I remember correctly from reading the legal documents, part of it was they also cover for lost wages if you...
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely. If you are injured in your act of self-defense, or if it happens in your workplace, we help cover those lost wages as well, because I don't want you to have to worry about, hey, who's paying my mortgage, who's feeding my family. If I'm injured, my thought should be, hey, how fast can I get healthy? Or if it happens in my workplace, hey, let's go ahead and let's make that as easy as possible, because you've probably already been through enough.
So guys, this is just a quick introduction and brief discussion about USCCA, why we carry it and why we've been carrying it for 5 years and why we recommend it to you guys. Look, there's plenty of other companies out there that offer the same type thing. Why I stick with USCCA is because not only do they cover the insurance portion, but they also give you such good information. They're constantly updating their website with new information, new knowledge, as well as coming out with videos, especially if you travel. They have a whole series of videos on if you travel with a gun, how to properly use certain accessories that you buy. It's a quick reference guide for those of us that might not have time to necessarily keep up with the newest and most up-to-date tactics. To have a, hey, these guys will do it for me. All I gotta do is sign up, and they'll send me considering monthly emails detailing all of that. As in addition, their magazine's awesome. So I highly recommend USCCA, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us, or you can contact Joe on the next slide with as well as scan the QR code.